And good evening, Monday, October 7th, 5:30 p.m. on the dot. My name is Ryan Belmer, owner and publisher of What's Up Newt. We have been chatting with candidates for Newport City Council and Newport School Committee all last week, all this week. We are slowly getting to all the candidates, and by the end of it, we'll talk to 10 of 11 Newport School Committee candidates and all but one Newport City Council candidates. All of the interviews are available on whatsupnewt.com. If you sign up for our newsletter, you can listen to them, read about them, watch them, whatever you may want to do. We're bringing you the information. I know it's a big commitment to ask you to watch a 30-minute interview, but be an informed voter when you go to early vote starting next Wednesday, October 16th, or on Election Day on Tuesday, November 5th. Today we are on Newport School Committee. This is the fourth Newport School Committee candidate of the day. And we are on another incumbent. It's been almost a full incumbent day. It's because tomorrow is a school committee meeting, so I probably got them the day beforehand. Stephanie Winslow joins us. Stephanie, am I right?
Yes, I just signed up for something after work. I was like, this is all I can do is end of the day.
There you go. I had one last week that was at like 7:30. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I can't complain. People have jobs.
Exactly. I do have the traditional hours, like, well, they say 9 to 5, but no job is 9 to 5.
That's true. Stephanie, what term is this? Well, you're seeking re-election.
Yes.
What term will next term be?
So it'll be 2.5 or 3.5, excuse me. I'm in my 2.5 term because my claim to fame is that there was a vacancy for the Newport School Committee in 2020. A member resigned and I applied for the position. There were like 8 candidates and we were interviewed by the city council. And I got selected. And so I was sworn in at noon on Friday, March 13th, 2020, which was about an hour before Governor Raimondo got on TV and shut down the state and said, if you can work from home, work from home. If you're in the schools, you're going to go home and pretend next week is April vacation. I didn't even have an email address set up with NPS. I was now a member of the school committee and education in America had just been flipped on its head.
I remember.
I will never forget it.
The council meeting and your shock that you have been selected.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is real now. Wow. I mean, I hadn't actually. I wasn't gonna do it. I've said to you privately, like I don't always like being in the spotlight, right? I want to help. I want to do, be part of the solution where I can be instead of complaining about something. But I had a friend really encourage me, and I said, "Sure, what the heck? It's not my decision. I'm gonna go interview for it, and if they like me, they like me." And there were a lot of really qualified people, so I was quite surprised because I'm not a parent, not a teacher or former teacher. I've tried teaching things before. It's not an easy job, and I don't work in the education industry, so automatically people say, "Well, why are you on the school committee?" And I thought, why not? Because schools are the foundation. It's like the pillar of our society. It's this, everybody goes to school, fingers crossed, and it's what makes us who we are in large part. So if you want a strong community, you have to have a strong school system. What better way to serve your community? Anyway, I got picked.
Yeah, you so, everything you're not. Why don't you tell us, for those who might not know you, who you are?
Okay, who I am. Well, whether I like to say it or not, everyone says, make sure you say I was born and raised in Newport. I went to Newport Public Schools. I did leave for college and that first job. And then this place has a way of bringing you back. And so I ended up back here. I have had a bunch of different jobs, but I eventually went back to school and I got a degree in computer programming. And so now today, what my job is, I'm actually a programmer. I work for a healthcare company. I build reports and manage data and database objects and things. And so I'm definitely a data person. And I live here in Newport, obviously. I enjoy, seeing friends and family nearby and really just being a part of the community. It's just fantastic. I feel so lucky to be here.
What goes into the decision? It has been, you mentioned COVID. It has been it is 2024, 4 years on the school committee in education in Newport. What goes into the decision to go for another 2 years?
Another term. I know. You get it's really tough to work so hard on something and then say, well, who am I going to leave it to? You want to find someone to run in your place, and maybe that person's not ready yet, and you still want to do work, and so it goes by so quickly. 2 years is just nothing. It takes a really long time to get to know something. So there's this combination of you've worked hard. You want to make sure that people are learning and coming on and getting into that, and you want to be part of that institutional knowledge, but you're also learning, and you just like finally start to get the hang of things when all of a sudden that term is up. These 2 years is just like, it goes by way too fast. So I said, all right, I think I can do one more.
What do you have left unfinished that you want to do?
Wow, I am an organizer, and I somehow fell into the policy subcommittee. I don't really consider myself someone who enjoys writing, but I've all of a sudden found myself writing policy, and we have so much of it in Newport, and that organizing knack that I have, we have just tons and tons of policies, a lot of things that need to be rewritten, updated language, or maybe combined. Something will be split across 3 or 4 different policies because stuff got created at different times and someone lost track of something. And so I'm seeing this opportunity to really condense, modernize, and improve our policy manual, which is like the value set of the Newport Public Schools. And there's a lot of things in there that we want to tackle. And so that's been a big time sink, and it's something I've worked really hard on.
That's not something that people are walking around Newport every day saying, "Oh, I wonder what the policy is."
I think the superintendent thinks I'm a big nerd. She loves it, she says. And it wasn't at all what I expected to be working on really as much, but it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed working with students at Rogers High School on some of that policy. We have some amazing students who want to be involved in this way, and so they've really stepped up and brought ideas to me that I've been able to like translate into some really nice changes, and so I'm very, very proud of that work.
Talking to some of your coworkers on the council, policy came up many times that you're involved with, as well as the health and wellness. And I'm looking at my schedule from last week. Kendra and I were trying to recruit volunteers for you.
Yeah.
Just so in case people reach out.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're doing in the health and wellness world?
Right now, well, we started, one of the big things was like that mandate from the state that you have to compost in schools. Our representative, Lauren Carson from Newport, was instrumental in that. The only downside is that there was just no funding for it. And so schools had to figure out how to do it on their own. So we applied for a grant. We contacted the Rhode Island Schools Recycling Club. We kind of pulled in all the pieces, and we had really gotten the incentive to do this from a presentation from second grade students at Pell Elementary School who said, "Do you know how much plastic we use in this school? Like you wouldn't believe it." And they showed us, and we just said, we've got to do what we can to get the composting going. And so, it's finally coming together. It's supposed to launch like October 21st, but It's a great way for it is a student-led sort of project. When they're at school, the kids run this during lunch period. They get trained, they show their fellow classmates how to do things, and it's a beautiful way to increase student engagement and give them some agency over their day. And so that's something we're super proud of. Now we're actually looking at cell phones. I think that might really be a health and wellness issue where they're just such a distraction for kids. And so because they can be used as more than a tool. Right? It's your connection to the outside world. It's social media. You get access to information, things that are way beyond what's going on during the school day. So while it might be crucial to have your phone so that you have contact with whoever you need to, whether it's your siblings, your parents, a job, whoever's you're caring for in your life, during the school day, that's a wellness issue. That's an issue of students being able to be engaged and feel safe and happy in school. So we're looking at that. But the thing about health and wellness committees is that you can really do, I mean, the sky's the limit. You find an issue and you run with it, whatever your schools need. It's a good one for parents to get involved and like bring in issues to our attention.
Yeah, that's why I've enjoyed doing this series with school committee candidates. First of all, I don't talk to you all enough, and you don't get enough attention from me. I try to cover your meetings, but many times I think people think, if they're paying attention at all, it's budget,
Yeah.
and it's the Rogers High School project.
Yep.
They don't, that's probably, and then maybe they'll come up with something crazy like book banning or whatever else it may be. But
America.
yes, but
Yes.
I some of the things like composting, and I'm sure government does not move fast at all. That was probably a multi-month.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been talking about it for a few years, and I think the law went into effect in January, and only a few schools in Rhode Island have been able to pull it off. There's a lot of willingness. I can tell you that the staff at Pell Elementary wants to be the model for the state. They're so proud of it. But it's like anything in education. There's so many demands on our educators. People have no idea how hard they work. And so it's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. But, still, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because, again, the kids are aware. They know the environment is a concern for them. Again, they brought this to our attention. And so we're really excited to give back some opportunity to them that will help, add to their school day.
What are the, what do you see the biggest opportunities for the next school committee? I could always change. I could also change it to priorities.
Well,
yeah.
You got to go back to policy. Something I've been working on for for 4 years, almost over 4 years. It's something I started the summer I was appointed. I really got to see kind of inside and started talking to a lot of people and realized one of the things I really had to make a priority, as uncomfortable as it is, I mean, you look at our school committee and it's not very diverse. It's not diverse at all. Our student body is, and they do not have the representation they need in our schools. And so having a lot of difficult conversations and bringing to everyone's attention issues that our students might face that, because of their race, their color, their ethnicity, the language they speak. Tackling those issues has been something that, I really, really feel passionately about. And it's something that every school in America faces. This is like the thing in education that the nut that no one can crack. But we've finally put together a policy that addresses some of the biggest themes that we really want to tackle when it comes to equity in teaching and learning and in our schools, and making sure they are a safe place for everyone. It's been really, really hard to articulate because you want to make everyone a part of the conversation. And it's a hard topic for people. Certainly, imagine being a teacher and being told you're not doing a good job. These people don't take their jobs lightly. They have students in their charge, and they care very deeply about them. Imagine being, an administrator and feeling like you're failing because you see the results of your test scores or whatever. Or imagine being the students and just, hearing over and over, you're not good enough. And so how do we change people? And how do we help them become aware of things they can do better? And so tackling those issues of equity and making sure that every child gets what they need in the classroom and outside of the classroom is like the biggest challenge facing any school in America. And you see it more in places like Newport, where we have a very broad range of students who have a very broad range of talents. learning modalities, needs, you name it. We're not just one size fits all, and school has really always been designed as one size fits all. So it's like it's not a new thing in education, but making it a reality is very, very difficult. And so I think, we have a new strategic plan with a real pillar of rigorous and equitable education for everyone. We have a new policy that's up for a vote tomorrow night at the school committee meeting that captures a lot of those ideas and puts them into some kind of document, I hope, that will outlive the strategic plan. And it's about really bringing equity, bringing parity to the student body so that we don't see such disparate outcomes anymore. That's a lot there, Ryan, but it's like the thing that drives me. It is my number one goal.
You mentioned school committee and the diversity may be lacking there, but obviously you think right away, and I don't expect you to have these numbers, but does the student population and the teachers, does that community look the same at all? And I'm sure it doesn't. And
not at all.
Those policy changes will take.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. You don't just snap your fingers and see it happen. It's about. One of the goals we set in policy is that we recruit and retain teachers who look like our student body, because representation really matters. Kids need to see themselves in the adult roles that they aspire to be. But it's a nationwide problem. I would love to see the federal government putting way more energy into recruiting teachers, supporting them through schooling, training the heck out of them for all sorts of situations, and making sure that they have the resources and the compensation that they deserve. I'm jealous of countries that really revere the education industry. I think it doesn't get the credit it deserves in America.
Yeah.
So it's a recruiting issue. Also, we really face some logistical challenges in Newport. Housing is not an accessible commodity here. So we can ask all we want for people to come here, but if they have nowhere to live, it's not going to change. One of the great things we are working on, though, is really sort of growing our own through the community. We have 2 programs. One is called College Unbound, and one is called the TA to BA program. They're really about finding people within the community and training them, give college credits and college courses to earn their teaching certificate and degree, and making, breaking down the barriers to becoming educators in the classroom. And that's when people from the community are actually working in the community, but they get it, they know the families, they know the parents. We hope that will really make an impact.
If that wasn't all enough, another nationwide problem, and certainly not just Newport, is declining enrollment.
Yeah.
And, I've talked with some other candidates where, as well as some of your fellow incumbents, where the decline in enrollment is, something you really can't control.
Right.
But it could have eventually, what some of us have come to is it could eventually down the road force some sort of regionalization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not something we can control. And Newport was growing just a few years ago. Really, we had, right before the pandemic, I think it's like 2017 or 2018, we had 2,200 kids in the district. We were forecasting continued growth. And that now the housing situation has really changed things. Regionalization has been a dream since, they've been talking about it since I was a kid. It was like, why can't we have one high school on this island? That was my big hiccup with the plan that came out 2 years ago, or a year ago, 2 years ago. It didn't include bringing our students together. And that was such that disappointment to me. I don't care where the building is. I just want to see us have a plan that is purposeful and done with intent for the students and for teaching and learning. Because I can tell you, if you put the same systems into a regional district, nothing will change. And you're not going to see huge cost savings either. It should never be about saving money. It should always be about opportunity for students. But whether or not that discussion happens sooner or later, I'm really not concerned about numbers. I'm concerned about quality. So if we have 500 students in our high school or 5,000 students in our high school, they better be getting a great education. We better be doing what they need. And I don't really, who the students are in Newport. I don't care who they are, what they look like, what it is. I want to be doing right by them. That's all. So
As a
really conversation, but for the right reasons.
As a school committee member, how do obviously we hear enough about test results.
Yeah.
We hear enough about the state of schools, which we're doing something about.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you judge success of the students? Or what you're doing, or the school committee, or education in Newport?
How do I judge it? The scores matter, right? I think a lot of us will say it's not the only thing. I don't know how standardized tests somehow became the measure of schools and school success. It's like all people want to look at, yet it's one, and they're actually designed to be part of a whole system of metrics that then judge where the student really is on grade level. It's not supposed to be a standalone thing, but it's been taken that way. When you look at new graduation requirements that the Rhode Island Department of Education adopted, I think it's the 8th grade class this year. I could be wrong, but very soon, all students are going to have work experience, civics, education, just like things way beyond what it was like. That's what college was like for me. And so I think it's really about a breadth of skills and what we're trying to train students to do. And I am just going to be happy if that student feels that they can navigate the world beyond high school, right? That they have the ability to get out there and make choices and make decisions. That's part of the reason we've adopted, it's called the Portrait of a Graduate. It's part of our strategic plan. And we got a huge shout out from, we had a really, really fantastic consultant help us with that strategic plan. And, she said it was one of the most thoughtful statements of a portrait of a graduate she'd ever seen from a school district. And they've worked on some really outstanding plans. So it's, college and career readiness, it's real world experience, it's ownership, it's about, being that whole well-rounded person. And I think actually Newport Public Schools does a very good job of this. The students I've worked with and encountered are just, their character is so rich and so amazing. They're very well-rounded kind of people, if that's the best way to say it. It's like they have an awareness of the world around them. They have lived experiences that a lot of even adults have never had. They speak multiple languages. They've traveled or they've lived other places. They carry jobs. They care for family members. They can do a lot. And there's something to be said about that. And that is not measured on standardized testing, and the last thing, Rogers High School, I'm very, very supportive of the superintendent's mission. Has always really been she's been a real champion of career tech education. And that is something that Rogers High School does very well, that Rhode Island does very well. And it's about giving the students really hands-on skills and experience. And again, now it's become a graduation requirement for future classes. So we're already we're well prepared. We're doing that already. And it's really exciting to see those things that the people always ask for, the workforce. They're always asking, we want kids with skills. If you can read and write, great. But if you can't, function in an office, you're not really of any value. And so I want to see all of that. And I want to see all that get measured, not just the standardized test that has this keyhole view of a child.
You mentioned Rogers High School. I didn't. So let's go there. What is your answer to when people ask you about what happened? Why is it over? Why? What is your elevator speech or your go-to when people ask about what happened with that project?
So Someone asked me just the other night, do you think that the school building committee was capable or was the right group? And I said, yes, school building committees manage construction projects all the time, and they've done them very successfully. The only thing that changed this time was an unprecedented, upheaval of the world economy. That was the COVID-19 pandemic. People forget, I had even forgotten until I started really kind of piecing it together, that there was a moratorium on school building construction for 10 years in Rhode Island. And then, nothing was going on. So things were kind of falling apart. And the Raimondo administration came in and said, wow, we have a major need for school infrastructure. So that big infamous Jacobs report that ranked public school facilities, Rogers High School was a candidate for replacement. We did lots of design work and research and, put together a proposal. That bond was passed in 2018 statewide. We said, we're going to go for some of this money. Okay, it's 2020. The pandemic has just hit, but this bond is on our ballot. And we said, what do we do? If we don't do it now, it's never going to happen. These incentives were expiring. This money was going to go. So we went for it. And we fast-tracked the Pell project and got that done. So then by the time the Rogers project started happening, things were really, really volatile, right? And there were still no firms in Rhode Island that were doing like a design build. You hear about that a lot where, okay, we're going to design the whole project and then get the bids. And like, you just keep redesigning before a shovel goes in the ground. You make sure you have your prices secured. That's generally how major projects like this happen. But there was no one doing it at the time. And the market was really volatile. And we had deadlines to meet. You had to have shovel in the ground. You had to have it finished by a certain date, or you would lose those incentives. And the state was not backing down. They said, you've got to keep going. You got to keep going. So everyone on that committee, it was a unanimous vote to have the construction manager at risk project and start bidding things in pieces and going out, one package at a time and step by step and redesigning as we went, as things maybe came in under or over budget. So I think there's this misconception that every time a bid package goes out, that's like additional money on top of the project, but it's really just the way it's been executed is in stages. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to watch how hard it's been for them. That was a really big passion project for me to see that high school get built. I really wanted the community to have that asset. And I still believe it's a tool. It's something for our community and for people in our school system. And I want it to succeed. And so to have public trust undermined and people not believing that it's been well managed or truthful, that's really hard. I just wish I could have just a one-on-one conversation with all those people to, help them understand what really is going on and try to say, we're going to finish it. It's going to be a beautiful building. It didn't go the way anybody wanted, but it's this close. We're finally.
Yeah. I'll opine for a minute because I watch all of the school committee, city council comments on social media, which is my least favorite job.
God.
It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to not agree with things, but the way in which some individuals do it is not for me. First of all, it's not healthy for the students. And it's just not healthy for the project to,
I agree.
So I can say much more, but I'm trying to behave today.
I fully agree. No one here is intentionally negligent or harmful or has any kind of ulterior motive. I mean, this is the last place anyone wants to be, is feeling like you didn't do a great job. I mean, but they're working so hard and have really pulled off a lot. And it would be nice to know that we just had the support of the council all the time. They've come through in the end, but there's been a lot of really hard conversations. And so it's felt like it's quite often felt like the school committee has been blamed for, the Rogers project going over budget, but it's actually a community project, and there are people from all over the community who are working on it. So I obviously have a special interest in seeing it through. So you've seen me at meetings, advocating for it, or as a member of the school committee trying to help. But it's a city project, citywide. I mean, it's the cities, it's schools, it's community, it's parents. We have people from all over working on this, and it's such a no-brainer. Just get it done, right? It's a school. It's a school building.
With that, we are already up against time. Was there anything that we did not get to today that you wanted to bring up? Besides, we'll wrap up with why people should vote for you, but was there any other topic?
No, I think the school building project is a big one. There's a lot out there. My biggest my biggest thing is I want people to support public education. Obviously, you can question it, but know how hard the people are working inside those walls every day. They have a tremendous job, So they need our support most of all.
And finally, why should people fill in the dot next to Stephanie Winslow again?
Because my goal is to bring diversity actually to our school committee, that when I am not part of the school committee anymore, I hope it's not a face that looks like mine, that I am trying really, really hard behind the scenes to change mindsets and really make people aware of what our students are experiencing, and make sure our teachers are able to deliver the best education they can to those students beyond, classroom instruction, but really understanding them. I want equitable instruction for everybody, and I want to bring more people. I want to see more faces get involved in the school committee. So that's my goal, is to just keep bringing people into this. And, I'm not going to go away. I'll be recruiting candidates and bringing them forward. But again, it's all about the students. What's in it for the kids?
Excellent. Well, we wish you the very best of luck. I've been saying it to everybody. Thank you for serving. Thank you for running again. Thank you for expanding the conversation between candidates. Hopefully everybody can come together after and share all their great ideas, because everybody has something good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ryan. I love this format, just being able to talk one-on-one. It's fantastic. So thank you so much for all the hours.
You are welcome. Thank you so much. That is Stephanie Winslow, and she is an incumbent. She's currently on Newport School Committee, and she is seeking re-election. And again, early voting starts a week from Wednesday, October 16th. And the general election is Tuesday, November 5th. If you missed any portion of this interview, want to watch it again, want to share it, want to compare, contrast candidates, all available on whatsupnuke.com. Sign up for our newsletter, where we'll send you the audio, text, video. We're giving you every single way to consume it. You just need to spend the time and give a little bit of an effort to become an informed voter. So hopefully we can help you do that. All available on whatsupnuke.com. Thanks for watching.
you.